Hi, my name is Carlos Colorado, and I'd like to speak to you about Oscar Romero and what makes his upcoming canonization so significant. I keep a blog called Super Martirio, which you can find by Googling it, and I have been expounding the ideas I'm about to present for the past 12 years in much greater detail at my blog, so I recommend that you look it up. I'm going to tell you the three main reasons why Oscar Romero is important. First of all, Romero is important because he is significant to the development of the idea of what is a martyr. Romero was canonized as a martyr, that is, somebody that was killed in hatred of the faith. And this is one of the oldest ideas in Christianity. The first saints that we have from the apostolic times were all martyrs. And in the old days, it was uh, quite an easy analysis. That is, people were told by the emperors in ancient Rome, give up your faith, give up your belief in Christ, uh, and pay your tribute to the emperor God, and you shall live. And when they refused to do so, they were killed. It was clear to establish they were killed in hatred of the faith. In modern times, things got more complicated because, as Pope Benedict XVI pointed out in a speech to the Congregation of the Causes of Saints, the agency in the church that declares saints and recognizes them, modern dictators don't take such a clean line. They will oftentimes deny that they're acting because of somebody's faith, or will propose some fake theory or why they're going after somebody. And in the case of Romero, this was the case. And what happened is that the church recognized this sleight of hand, this deception by the tyrants, and does not fall into the trap. And so as a result, the church asked the question, is somebody, despite what the pretense or the pretextual reasons for their killing is, are they being killed in fact for some tenet of the faith? And in so deciding, we actually have reset the standard to what it used to be in the times, for example, of St. Thomas Aquinas, which is we look at whether somebody was killed for hatred of the faith as lived, as opposed to just the faith as professed. Because you might be able to profess your faith, but as long as you don't do anything that rankles anybody, you're going to be okay. But if you start acting differently, then you get into trouble. And that's what happened with Romero. He is a martyr of the faith as lived, and in that respect, he takes us back to the old ideas of what martyrdom was in the early church. The second reason Romero is important is because he's an exponent of the Latin American church. And in the Latin American church, we had a long tradition of the church aligning itself with earthly powers, with colonial powers and imperial powers. But Romero broke ranks with the worldly powers and decided that it was more important to be true to the gospel and to ideas of the gospel. And in that way, again, this was a realignment, because if we look at the early history of the church in the continent, for example, there was a friar named Antonio Montesino, who in December of 1511 gave a scathing denunciation of colonial era abuses against the indigenous. If you look, Romero would argue at the Virgin of Guadalupe, who took a very decided on the side of the marginalized, appearing to Juan Diego and speaking in Nahuatl. It is a realignment of the church with the true values of the gospel. Finally, as a representative and a proponent of the Second Vatican Council. Now, we've canonized representatives of the Second Vatican Council before, for example, Pope John the 23rd and Pope John Paul II, who represented a sort of before and after portrait of the council. But now we're canonizing Archbishop Romero and Paul VI, who represent what it was like to be in the thick of it, in the implementation of the council, and all of the division and all of the difficulties that brought about. So for all those three reasons, Romero is a very topical saint, and one that I think will stand the test of time and be very important for years to come. Thank you.